The final round of the British Open Class 500cc Championship here at Fox Hills Motor Park just outside Swindon in Wiltshire. Well, the tension really mounts because this man, number 10, going for the number 1 plate, Jeremy Watley, is here to do his stuff today. And there is Jeremy talking to Robbie Herring, who indeed is his nearest competitor here today, riding the 250 bike. This really is something that we'll have to look out for. Jeremy Watley leads the riders onto the line for the start of Moto 1, with Paul Malin there following in second place. There's third place man onto the line, number 8. That's Brian Wheeler from Watton Under Edge. Brian coming good in the latter part of the season. Alongside him there was Mervyn Anstey, and of course, may remember last year Mervyn Anstey had a battle here with Kurt Nichols. 77 there along with 16 Paul Coward and Ryan Hunt. As the gate drops, they go down that hill for the first time. It looks like Anstey that got the legs on the rest. It's clear at the moment, nobody down, up over the bump into the left-hander for the first time. It's Anstey that leads. Anstey, there's a bit of a pile up there. We've got 1 or 2 gone down. Coyley is in there, Higgs, Rennie Smith and Barry Johnson. But it's Anstey that leads at the moment from, well, it's Malin, number 4, Paul Malin, the Kawasaki kid, on the back door of the ES, number 2 of Mervyn Anstey. Anstey came in, Watley's there in third, and Herring fourth, Gerard Smith fifth. There is Wheeler, and behind Wheeler it's Matt Bates, Shepherd, Neil Shepherd, the newly upgraded schoolboy into the adult ranks for the first time this year, and he's having a ride, he'll remember. As they come through, there's Gerard Smith, the Burley Northerner, down the hill. Fourth place, gets the board, but Herring now has taken the lead, taking the 250cc Silkerline Honda into the lead. Number 3 on the bike. Looks like it could well be number 2, or he may even make number 1 for next year. Watley still there in second. We lost Malin. He made a mistake, went off the track into the ropes, allowed Herring through into the lead. Watley second as the rest of the pack come through. That's Eastwood. That's Mark Eastwood, number 9. Herring coming through. How does that bike outpower the 500s around the hills here at Fox Hills Motor Park? Well, we don't know. Robbie says it's all in the right hand. But we suspect that there's more under that petrol tank than meets the eye. Herring, currently leading the British 125 and the 250 Championship, has a slim chance of taking this Open Class Championship today from this man, number 10, the Action Workshop rider, Jeremy Watley. Herring in front. This is Smith, number 12, Gerard Smith. He, again, a rider that tends to come good nearer the end of the season. Anstey, he was battling here last year for that possible number 1 plates. But it's the turn of Herring this year. Number 9, Eastwood, down the hill on the Honda. That's Wheeler. Brian Wheeler, number 8, on the Gordon Jones Sprite Alloys KTM. Well, here's the man that's had not too good fortune over the last few rounds, Jamie Dobb, number 7, on the Mitsui 250 Yamaha. Looks as if those bars have dropped a bit. Bates at the moment with Stewie Coyle. Coyle, one of those accident victims on that first corner, but he's making his way through the pack like a hot knife through butter. Young Stewie Coyle, the South Walian. Shepherd there, 1-2-1. This young lad's having the ride of his life. The leading schoolboy at the moment in this first race, 25 minutes plus the 2 laps. Herring takes the win there. A good win for Robbie Herring and 20 points. Watley came home in second place. That's 17 points. And in third, it's Gerard Smith, number 12, on the RWJ's diesel-sponsored Honda. Anstey chasing him home in fourth on the ES. Well, Herring now takes his points tally up to 291. Jeremy Watley on 322. There's 31 points difference as Watley, well, thinks about what he needs to do in race 2. And what he does need to do is just stay safe, stay in the top 6 or 7. And he's going to be British champion for 1991 at the end of this race. 25 minutes plus the 2 laps as they come down onto the line. Watley first, Herring second, Malin comes in third. Then it's James Dobb. There's Anstey going through as they line up. The 30-second board is up. 5-second board swings around. The gate will drop. It does. Looks like Anstey going for a drag down the hill again. He's got Watley on the inside. Will they get through that bit safely? It's Watley. The Action Workshop man leads. Watley, Anstey, Herring was in there. Banks, Smith. There's Bates, Hanson. Simpson is in there. Coyle is in there. That's young Ricky Priest. There's Dobby. Bad start for Dobb again. They come through. Russ Jarman has a problem with the side of the KTM and gets shoved up the rear end by Ryan Hunt on the Suzuki. Not very friendly. As they tear away, but Watley has to stay at the front or somewhere near the front, but Herring's got there now. Robbie Herring, there's Anstey second, it's Wheeler third, there is Watley, Smith behind him, and Mark Banks it is indeed, number 14. Bergerman Banks, as they used to be called. Newly married Greg Hansen, 29, just went through. Well, there's Dobby, not having the best of days at the moment. The war horse himself, Willie Simpson, 21. Priest with the young pup Paul Malin right up beside him, but it's Herring looking for another 20 points on the Silkerline Honda. And the kind of form that Robbie Herring's been putting in recently, I think there's no reason why he shouldn't take those 20 points. But Watley just has to stay there. Third at the moment. That's enough to give him the championship. The tension must really be on him at the moment. The Watley fans around the circuit cheering him on. The atmosphere here at Fox Hill's really electric at the moment. Hansen, 29, on the Kawasaki. There's Herring. Well, Harvey Beltram, Herring's mechanic. I don't know what he puts under that tank, but it really does make the bike go. Banks, 14. And Barry St Edmunds, son of a former all-time great rider. Batesy, Coyle, the Welshman. He's come on well at the end of the season. He's got the Honda well wound on, but he cannot seem to get up alongside that Yamaha at the moment. Over the jumps here. Back with the leader. Herring it is, number 3. Favourite to take the number 1 plate in the 125 and 250 class this year. It looks like he'll be taking the 2 plate in this class, the open class. Watley down the hill after him. All Jeremy has to do is keep that bike running. Don't make a mistake and cross the checkered flag, and he's got the championship. Malin chasing Dobby, the 2 Derbyshire men sitting on each other's back doors. Here it is, Herring then, that takes the win. But he doesn't take the championship, because the man that indeed does take the championship is up over the hill now. Jeremy Watley waves to the crowd, number 10. That'll be number 1 for 1992. Action Workshop, Jeremy Watley, the new British Open Class champion. And let's see what Jeremy had to say.
Beginning of the season was really easy. It was just like go out and ride, no pressure, because I wasn't expected to do anything, and even I didn't think I could get, you know, like number 1. I thought maybe top 5 and I'd be really happy with that. So it was no pressure, but then unfortunately about halfway through the year I'm thinking, oh, David's been hurt and Kurt's out, and now it's like possible. And I started riding with pressure to myself, which I'm sure you've noticed over the last couple of rounds. Maybe not this round in particular, or maybe the last one, but Torrington and the one before a little bit edgy. I was really struggling, and I can't praise Julian Clark enough. He's the best manager I've ever had. He took a bit of a chance with me at the beginning of the year, wanted me to ride 500s, and I took a chance with him. And luckily, it's a lovely relationship. I think we've had maybe 1 mechanical breakdown, which wasn't due to Ian. I mean, it was a slight malfunction of the bike, which, you know, you can't take any credit away from the bike. The bikes were brilliant. They're production bikes, so what more can I say? I'm very, very pleased with the whole team setup.
Good year for Jeremy. How's it been for you too?
Brilliant, yeah. It's the best year ever, I think, this year. He's rode well. He's had a few bad problems, bad luck and everything with injury, but other than that, he's been riding really well. I'm really proud of him.
And this young lady here?
Yep, she's JD. She's 14 weeks old now. She went to watch him at the Grand Prix at Hawkstone when she was only 6 days old. So it's all in her blood already.
We've never doubted Jeremy's talent, and this year's been a tremendous year for him.
Yes.
And let's hope he can go one better next.
Let's hope it's the world next year.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
John Osorio, a fantastic end to a marvellous season, capped today by winning the Open British Championship. Your feelings?
Oh, just delighted. It's something we aimed for, we dreamt for. We weren't sure we were going to do it, but we knew we had a chance. The whole team has been superb. Julian, Jeremy and Ian have worked together as one. There's been very, very little arguments or disagreements. Everybody's had their own job to do and got on with it, and I think the result shows.
Rob Herring, 500 British Championship out of the window. Can't be beaten for second place, but you can't do any more than the way you've ridden today, really.
No, I knew before the event started that all I could do was to come out and do my best. You know, if I won, the day, then it all depends where Jeremy finishes. I had no plans really on winning it, because I knew, Jem was just too far ahead, and he rides smart. So, I knew I'd finish second before the day even started. I couldn't be beaten for second before the day started, so I would have been either second or first, but I wasn't banking on first.
Right, there he is then, hat-trick man himself, 3 total wins tonight. In bike number 3, Robbie Herring.
The 1990 British Open Class champion here, number 1, Kurt Nickel, finishing in 11th in this season's outing, owing to that very, very severe injury he picked up at the Dutch Grand Prix. He broke his thigh, his leg in several places. That put a pay to his British Championship hopes of retaining that number 1 plate, and also put an end to his hopes of becoming the first KTM world champion. But Kurt Nickel will be back, now living in France with his own practice track. He's in training already. He'll be back in 1992. Number 6, the Welshman, Stuart Coyle, on the Regent 500 Honda. He's hoping to pick a deal up for 1992 because his current sponsor at the moment is in a Russian hospital after a very serious racing injury. But we hope that he gets well soon, and we hope that Stu can get something sorted out for 92. Banks, number 14, on the TK Landscapes 500 KTM, 9th in the championship. Well, Mark, of course, known as Burger Banks to most of the Americans, coming back after that very serious hip injury that he picked up at the Geneva Supercross a couple of years back. But Mark from Bury St Edmunds, son of the famous racer John Banks, will be hoping for a better season. Well, from the east coast of the country, we move now to the north, and here he is, the burly northerner Gerard Smith, riding the RWJ diesel-sponsored Honda. He's come on a little bit late in the season, but nevertheless he's done enough to move him into 8th position in the championship. No doubt Gerard will be in heavy discussion with Colin Reid from RWJ Diesels for his deal for 1992. Now here's another lad that's come on in the latter part of the season. Number 8 from Watton Under Edge, Brian Wheeler. Riding the Sprite Alloys 500 KTM, he picked up his first championship overall win at Boltby, and that helped him to elevate himself up to 7th overall in the Open Championship for this year. Number 2 on the bike, but it'll be number 6 next year for the ES man, Mervyn Anstey. High hopes of taking the British Championship this year in 1991, but it all fell apart during the season with 1 or 2 sponsorship problems. But no doubt young Mervyn will be back in full flight in 92, and we'll be looking to see what kind of results he can pick up. What can be said about this man? With the number 5 plate this year and for next year, the former 3 times world champion and 5 times British champion, David Thorpe. He'll certainly be looking to take that British Championship back, and indeed that World Championship, and possibly the home Italian Championship. The question we all ask now is, can he do it? Well, switching from the big bikes to the 250s, number 7 here, that's Jamie Dobb. Hoisted himself up to 4th in the British Open Class Championship in 1991. Well, that's where he'll be for next year, 92. Well, he's had a very indifferent year as young James, but he's changing bikes next year. He'll be with the Kawasaki team, along with his fellow Derbyshire pal, Paul Malin. So that really will be a team to look out for. Both of them will be contesting the 250 Grand Prix, and this is the lad we spoke of, Paul Malin, 3rd in the championship, moves up 1 place on his plate for next year. Well, he has had a superb year in the 500 Grand Prix and really shocked everybody, but in the home championship, just hasn't quite been able to put it together. But he's back with Kawasaki in 1992 and has said, along with Dobby, this is one pair which we'll really be keeping our eyes on for sure. Herring, number 3. Well, it's number 2 in this class for 1992 and quite possibly number 1 in the 125 and the 250, but that's yet to be confirmed. But Herring, as we all know, one of the fastest riders on a 250 in the world. He just has to stay on the bike. He's done it over the last few rounds and he really has scored the points. But Herring is the man most definitely that everybody has to catch next year. Jeremy Watley, the Action Workshop lad, the man that left Yamaha last year, surprisingly went on to the 500s with Action Workshop and has stunned the world as well as the British Championship scene. He led at the beginning of the year. Prior to that, it's a wrist injury he picked up at the Grand Prix. Mr. Cool himself, celebrations this year for him with the birth of his baby daughter, now the British Championship. He really is a happy man, and indeed so is the team. Julian Clark, their team manager, Ian Brown, the mechanic, and John Osorio, the team owner. Well, it was a year for Kawasaki and a year for Watley. Well, what can we say? Join us next year for 1992. It'll be a cracker.
Kawasaki congratulates Action Workshop's Jeremy Watley on winning the 1991 British Open Class Championship on a production KX500. Paul Malin rode a production 1992 KX125 to a race win at the final round of the 125 British Championship. These machines are now available to you at your Kawasaki off-road dealer. Every time we race, you win.
The Americans were pushed hard to win the motocross Des Nations. We spoke to the American team manager and former world champion Roger DaCosta after the race.
Yeah, there was a reason to worry, although I was counting on Stanton to finish really strong. And he had a couple of mishaps in the race. He had I think he came out about third in the start, and he went down one time, lost a bunch of ground, and then he went down 2 more times, 2 little ones. Stanton again saved us, like he did last year also, and I knew he was going to be strong at the end of the race, but we were definitely worried because the Dutch did very well, and the Belgium team, starting the third heat with 3 wins, put us at a very difficult position. We had to finish in front of them and be at least second if they did not win. So it was a tight race.
That was a superb ride from Stanton. Just to look back at that third race.
Yeah. If you look at these last 3 laps, were exceptional, I think.
They were brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you have any feelings for the Belgium team? I mean, you are the American leader.
I was mostly impressed with Barefoots his first heat. I expected Evers to do good, and I expected him to win his heats. He is riding very well, and his bike is also, his equipment is, I think, probably the best equipment out there in the 125 class. So he was the best rider on the best bike. And unless something, some mishap happened, I don't think there was any chance to beat him. But I didn't expect Barefoots to be as strong as he was, especially in that first heat. And he passed Bradshaw, he passed him clean, and he was the better man.
But what about your feelings as a Belgian? Or are you now, do you feel you're more American than Belgium? I mean, it's, for us Europeans, it's difficult for us to...
Yeah, it's, I've been living in America part-time for, I was part-time in America and in Europe for 5 years, and in the last 5 years I've lived almost full-time in America. And my feelings, I still feel for Belgium and all that, but it's more important to me that the best team wins, and I have the fortune that I've been able to work with really good guys, and I have a big pool of riders to choose from, and they've been really motivated, and I think that they've deserved to win because they've worked very hard at it, and guys like Stanton come over here and race for basically you know, for peanuts compared to what he could be making. He could go race some other race and make probably $20,000, $30,000 on a day like this. And he came here and he made $300 for winning here today.
And you appreciate that?
I think I appreciate it, and I think the fans should appreciate it too.
For sure, as far as Europeans are concerned, regardless of what is said, we love for the Americans to come over. You know, we really enjoy watching them ride. Okay, they do too much winning, but,
yes, but
we accept this because we prefer to have them. It is very important for our year.
I think the best riders should be there, and you know, if the Europeans, whether it was Belgium or England or whatever country, beat us deservingly, I would have been the first one to go congratulate them. I like to see a good race, and personally, I like to win, but I like to win by the smallest margin. That's the best feeling.
Yes, that's for sure. And if you could say one thing, the difference between the Europeans and the American riders, just one thing, be it machines or the mind is stronger or whatever, what is the one difference between the Europeans and the Americans?
On a track like this, I don't think there is a lot of difference, except that when it comes to a team race, from the inside I can say that the Americans are able to pull together and put their rest of the season feelings behind, and these three guys are very competitive during the year and don't like each other at all, but on a weekend like this they really go to the extreme about working together and helping each other. And if one guy thinks about something on the track that is better than the other guy is doing, he will tell him. They won't keep things to each other on a race like this, and I think that's an advantage for us, for the American team. And if it was on another track, on the hard tracks, I think the Supercross, the number of Supercross they race, plays into the favor of the Americans for passing and riding in tight situations, and so also maybe for the starts a little bit, but I think that was not valid on this kind of a course. I think this course was as good as it could be for the Europeans, I think, especially for the Dutch.
You feel this was our best opportunity to win?
Yeah, that doesn't mean that they won't beat us some other day, but I think that was the best opportunity in many years, I think.
And the gap between the Americans and the Europeans, is that now closing?
Well, there's a few European riders now. You know, Bale is a European, of course. He went to beat the Americans on their own track, but then there's Everts and there's Malin. I think those are the two Europeans, I think, with the most with the technique that ride like American riders do. You know, looser. They don't ride through everything. They jump things more, and they have a different riding style than the older generation Europeans, I think.
The Bale situation. He only just won the 125 World Championship. Then he went to the 250 World Championship, which he won comfortably. And then he went to America. And in the last few weeks from Stefan, we have seen a lad mature.
Yeah.
And he looks more fluid and he looks faster. Do you see Stefan following in the footsteps of?
I hope he does, and I think he has the possibility is there for it. I think Stefan is probably the biggest fan of Bale, and I know that Stefan watches all his tapes and studies his tapes from all the races. He has all the tapes from the races in the US, and he studies his riding technique and all that. And I think it's obvious that Bale is the best riding technique today for today's tracks and for today's machines. And if you're going to beat him, you know, you have to study what he's doing, and you have to go that way.
And for 92, Bale will race in America?
Yes, 92 he will race in America again, and then 93 is his mindset on road racing, on trying to go to road racing. And
do you feel this will be a tremendous loss to the motocross world?
It's definitely a loss for us, but on the other hand, if he does good, we can be proud of him doing something else and do good, you know, and that's what he wants to do. So there's no reason for me or somebody in Honda to try to keep him holding back, because he won't perform if he's not happy.
And the Americans, have they accepted Bale? Is he a part of their scene now, or would they prefer?
I think the connoisseur, the people that really, the real hardcore fan, I think appreciates his ability and what he's doing. but a lot of Americans don't like what is happening, and the Americans in a way are very chauvinistic, and they're very much like the French in their own country. If there's a Frenchman that does good in any sport, as you have seen, they're very
patriotic.
Yeah, and as long as it stays within a sportive way of doing things, I think that's fine. It's as long as it's not pushed too far, you know, as long as you stay fair. Because Bale this year, I think, had really a coalition against him, and it was more than just individual riders racing against him. There was many times there was ganging up on him, and
so his achievement is even more.
Yeah, his
great
achievement.
Than what we see.
In my opinion, it was. I think it was much more difficult for him to win than if any American had to do the same job.
Well, Roger DeCosta, the Europeans love to hear you speak and tell us about the American scene, and thanks very much for taking time out to speak to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
KTM Race and Development in 1991 was second to none. Committed to 125, 250 and 500 GPs, it won more than any other manufacturer, with Bob Moore, Mike Healy, Jackie Martin and Kurt Nickel all taking GP heat and overall victories. Wilf Green now takes over distribution of the famous Austrian manufacturers for the UK, while Gordon Jones remains to guide the UK KTM race team to more success. KTM, fun in motion.
After a 6-month layoff for these 125 250 lads, we come here to Brill, just outside Oxford, for the 5th round of the 125 250 British Championship. The 6 top riders coming into this round: Brian Wheeler in 6th place and looking for some better points by the end of the day. Well, he's picked up some very useful points in the Open Class Championship, but here's one lad that we won't see today. Warren Edwards on the 75 points, out with injury for the last 2 rounds, and that's a shame really, because he's out for the rest of the season. Matt Bates also there on the Yamaha and looking for some very serious point scoring here at Brill today, and I'm sure Matt will oblige. Young Mark Eastwood on 98 points on the Honda. Well, Mr. Consistency back after injury and riding well. Well, the defending champion here on the Yamaha, Jamie Dobb, number 1 on the bike. Well, things are not looking too good for him at the moment, but he's got 122 points. And the rider that really he has to beat is this man, Robbie Herring, the Flying Fish, on 137, and surely looking good for a championship at the end of the year. Well, the spectators stand there, they wait anxiously to wait for the riders to go down onto the line for race 1, and here's one young man that's probably very anxious at the moment to pick up some very useful points. Well, let's join now the riders and our race commentator, Nick Fisk.
So the riders on the line for Moto 1 to the 250. The gate drops and they're away, screaming off the gate together. And it looks to be number 40, Di Smith, coming from the right-hand side of the track as he goes off the drop in front of the pack. As we pick him up later on the first lap, we find Team Seal Clean, Rob Herring in the lead. Second place man, looking back, we see the man that got a whole shot, Di Smith, and he's got Matt Bates tucking behind him, Greg Hansen, Neil Shepherd, Jamie Dobb number 1. Dave Watson going through. There's Malin at about 10th spot. And the rest of the field streaming through. Despite a lot of overnight rain, you can see already as they're coming through, they're beginning to kick up a bit of dust off those rear wheels. So the riders well strung out now on this, the end of the first lap. Quite a torturous track here at Brill. And the last remaining riders come through. And at the rear we find number 11, Julian Rawson, really suffering with his leg problems this season. So we pick up race leader, number 3, Rob Herring, down the bottom half of the track. Sweeping around the left-hander. Pulling out quite a lead already, looking back for the second place man. And it's Bates, Matt Bates on the Yamaha from Dobb. Hansen, local rider, still there. Neil Shepherd going through, Di Smith, Malin, Watson, Campbell, Lewis King, Paul Luscombe, Brian Wheeler we see down there, but still in a point scoring place, as is Mark Eastwood, number 9, going through. 20 is Barry Johnson, so you can see the field still quite closely packed. And we find here number 79, Paul Cooper, the young South African, having a good season, his first British Championship. So back with race leader Herring once more. pulled out a phenomenal lead here as we find him dropping his way down towards the track, as you can see, very rutted. Although dusty in place, you can see still a little bit slippy there. Jamie Dobb up now into second spot. And if you look at his bike, you'll see it's got a 1992 front mudguard and number plates on it, but that's a bit of a psych-out job because it's actually a 91 machine. So he tears away up the track. Looking back for third place man, we find it's Matt Bates. Greg Hansen tucked in behind him, and there's Malin. And Malin obviously having no trouble adapting to the 250 machine. As you can see there, very slow section of the course there, very tight ruts. So Eastwood and Campbell following Malin through. Looking back, we see Justin Morris on the Yamaha. Then here comes a rather muddy-looking Paul Luscombe. And there's Neil Shepherd, still well up in the points. A good ride for this young man. And here comes 79 Paul Cooper once more, pushing his way up to the field. 40 is early race leader Smith. And we find here number 22, Matt Gordon, pushing his way up through the inside on that very tight part of the track. Meanwhile, back with race leader Herring now. Away out in front of the pack, but we find that Dobby appears to be pulling it in. So Jamie Dobb on the 250 Mitsui Yamaha, gradually reeling in the race leader. Brian Wheeler, KTM, up in the third spot. Greg Hansen still there in fourth place. And there's Mark Eastwood, a sensational ride for Mark Eastwood, steadily climbing up the leaderboard. And Matt Bates looking rather tired there. Paul Malin making a challenge on the inside, but Bates managing to keep him out. Race leader Herring. So looking quite confident out there, but we see Jamie Dobb slowly but surely reeling him into these later stages of the race. Brian Wheeler still there, passing one of the slower riders. Thumbs up to the camera. Supremely confident he's got time to do that. So there's Herring. Must be on his last lap now. Dobby, as you can see, getting ever closer. And the gap now noticeably shortening. Brian Wheeler there in third spot. Quite a safe third for Brian. A long way ahead now of fourth place man Greg Hansen. So here comes Hansen. And there's Eastwood up into fifth. You can see Rawson just there in the background being lapped. So Eastwood, a good charge through the pack. Malin tucked in behind him. And he's got David Campbell in close attention on the Honda. So Malin dropping down to the lowest part of the track on this, the last lap. Had a good ride, as I said earlier, adapting well to the 250 machine from his usual 500 mount. So we find race leader here, Robbie Herring, taking the checkered flag on the first moto. And looking back for second place, we find Jamie Dobb on the Team Mitsui Yamaha. A good hard charge from Dobby at the end of the race. And there's a man happy with his performance. Third spot for Brian Wheeler on the KTM. So, winner of the first leg, Rob Herring, now coming to the line for the second moto. He'll be looking to back this up with 2 wins. Jamie Dobb there, closing in fast on Herring in the first one. And there's Brian Wheeler. Had to be happy with that third place, looking very thoughtful and pensive before the gate drops. So gate ready to drop, and you see Matt Gordon 22 in the centre of the picture and Rob Herring 3. So it looks to be Gordon showing, but Herring's right next to him, and Dobb comes across the front of the pack there. So Jamie Dobb in the lead as they go off the drop-off for the first time. And as we pick up the pack, it's Dobb in the lead, Herring in second place. You see pulling his roll-offs as he goes over the jump. Looking back for third place man, and we find it's 79 Paul Cooper. And Herring now got past Dobb, but Dobb, you see, not giving up, really fighting back there. And look at the dust flying off those rear wheels. Who believed it rained so much at the track last night? And Cooper there having a tremendous ride, holding on to a solid third place. So race leader Herring coming up towards the finish. So takes the checkered flag on the second moto. So 2 starts, 2 wins, a good day for him. Jamie Dobb there had to be happy with second place. And of course in third place, young South African Paul Cooper having a ride of his life out there today.
So let's update ourselves on the 125 Championship. Riding the Mitsu Yamaha and lying in 6th place is Jamie Dobb. The Derbyshire teenager will be looking to pull in those 7 vital points to take over 5th place Midlander Matt Gordon. Both of these riders suffered broken collarbones in 1991, but both are now fully fit. Cumbrian Tyres supported Neil Prince is looking safe for 4th place, but he knows one mistake and both Dobb and Gordon could finish ahead of him in the overall standings. Honda's number 1, Rob Herring, is currently lying 3rd, just 3 points behind Ryan Hunt. Rob won't be underestimating the Castrol Suzuki rider's ability in the 125 category. Ryan has always returned to South Africa for his winter break with some good victories to his credit. And finally to the current championship leader, Craig Prattley. He won't be scoring any points today after breaking his thigh at Boltby. But full credit to him, he's braved the winter weather, and although on crutches, he's here to support Silkeleen Honda teammate Rob Herring. With mechanic Harvey Beltran as always in close attendance, Herring fastens his gloves in final preparation for this, the first 125 race of the championship since last April. They now know that both the 125 and 250 titles are there for the taking. So there's the full lineup of riders, including Dave Thorpe and a fresh input of young schoolboys hoping to make their mark. Now let's join race commentator Nick Fisk.
So the riders' heads go down, they knock the bikes into gear, 5-second board up and they're away. Ryan Hunt, number 16 there, pulling out across the left of the track. They thunder around to that first corner. And it's Greg Hansen, the leader. 22 is Flash Gordon. Barfoot 92, Ryan Hunt, Lee Williams, and there's Jamie Dobb there, back there in the 6th spot. So coming around the second lap, we see Gordon has managed to push past Hansen. Hansen's still on his tail though, looking back, and Hunt's in front of Barfoot. Ryan Hunt on the Castrol Suzuki, pushed past John Barfoot. 5th place man is Dobb. And the rest of the pack coming to sight now. There's Campbell, Williams, Wayne Butt, Brian Wheeler, number 8. Ashley Kane, Jason Jarvis, Paul Cooper, Danny Toll at 29, Thorpe, and there's Herring and Morrison well down the pack. What an appalling start for those two. And this man too, 37, Prince. So a lot of trouble on the first lap for some fancied runners here. And the rest of the field coming through, and there's Kelly Swanson, number 57. Wouldn't expect to see him so far down the pack. And so back with race leader Matt Flash Gordon on the Sherwood Motors Honda. Had a good season in the 125 World Championships. Let down though by injury towards the end of it, but certainly coming back at this round here. So look at that height he's getting off that jump, almost throwing the back end out. 2nd place man still in attendance there is Greg Hansen, one of the South Midland riders. Ryan Hunt next man through on the Castrol Suzuki. Looking back as they come over the jump, and there's Jamie Dobb. Dobb in front of Barfoot now. John Barfoot, good start for him, but fading a little bit. And the back end of his machine kicking out there. Wheeler up over the jump. Campbell's 53. Rob Herring making up some ground after his appalling start. 38 is Ashley Kane. Paul Cooper going through. Lee Williams, Wayne Butt. And here comes Dave Thorpe, more used to the 500 Kawasaki, enjoying himself today in the little 125. So back with race leader Matt Gordon, pulling out quite a substantial lead. So you can see the track well rutting up. 16 now in 2nd spot is Ryan Hunt. Looking over his shoulder, 3rd place man, the South Midland rider Greg Hansen. And here comes Jamie Dobb. Tucked in behind him, Herring, a magnificent ride. Got past Barfoot, pushing his way up through the field after that appalling start. Race leader Gordon making his way along the bottom half of the mountain. We find the track very bumpy here. 2nd place man Hunt, being followed by Herring there as they make their way up the mountain into the left hand of the steepest part of the track. And Herring there really fighting that 125 that they're chasing after Hunt. And Hansen now dropping back to 4th. Apparently when Gordon got past him, he got hit in the eye by the stone and couldn't really see too much. Didn't take any further part in the day's proceedings. Meanwhile, looking down the pack, we find there's Jamie Dobb going through in 5th spot. So it was a win for the Midlander, Matt Gordon on the Honda. 2nd place man, we found Ryan Hunt on the Castrol Suzuki. And looking back for the 3rd spot, after an appalling start, we found Rob Herring coming through on the Honda. So, start a 2nd moto and watch the guy over the arrow. That's what you call jumping the start gate. So the rest of the pack thunder away into that first bend, left off that drop, and it's Rob Herring in the lead, not repeating the mistake he made in the first moto from the start. Looking back, 2nd place man, Matt Gordon, well up there. 3rd place man, 3 on the bike, Jamie Dobb. Neil Prince, also an appalling start in the first race coming through. Alan Morrison and John Barfoot, 92 there once more. So race leader Herring, certainly not repeating the errors he made in the first leg. Wants to get away, get some more points. Second place man Gordon, first leg winner, chasing hard after Herring. Coming through in third place we find 37 Neil Prince, and he's got 92 John Barfoot just behind him. Followed by 3 is Dobb, and 34 is Alan Morrison, the Irishman. Well, basically, that's the way it stayed until the checkered flag, with Rob Herring taking the second leg win. Just beaten into second place, the winner of the first moto, Matt Gordon, also Honda mounted. You can see here, although Deadly Drive was out on the track, they got time to shake hands afterwards. So third place man Neil Prince undergoing the compulsory sound check. We later spoke to Robbie Herring in the pits.
I had a good day today. I rode pretty strong in both 250 races, and I mainly wanted to get out there, pull out a bit of a lead, and then just keep an eye on Jamie. First 125 race, I had a collision on the third corner with 2 guys dropped in front of me, and there's no way I could miss them, and I got tangled up and I got wrapped around somebody's handlebars, so it took me a little while to get going. I came through the third, so I was quite happy with that. I was riding good, and I caught up the lead. Well, I caught up to Ryan Hunt. Second one, good start, pulled out a lead, and then just watched Matt in second place. And all I had to do was go as fast as he was going, and then he wouldn't catch me. So that's all I did. You know, Ryan's been riding good all year. He's a good 125 rider, and I'm sure today he was out there mainly to beat me, and I was out there really mainly to beat him, because really it's the two of us in the championship. So I'm sure when I got behind him, you know, they boarded him and told him, and it must have bucked him up a bit, and they must have told him to pull his finger out, and he did. So the second one, he lost contact with me from the beginning, because I think he dropped it on the second corner or something, and from then on, you know, it's really hard to come through. I'd gone by then, so there was little chance of him getting up to me anyway. Come next year, I'm going to be fit. I'm going to be as fit as anybody out there, and I've had a lot of slack this year from the press and from different people for, admittedly, I wasn't fit beginning of the year, but you know, the harder I've worked, the better I've been riding, better my results have been getting, and next year my results are going to be even better. I'm going to be fit next year, really fit.
Well, so speak a very confident man. Well, there you are. That's the result of the top 3 in the 250, and James Dobb there seems to think that the Motovision hat has greater value than his own Paddington Bear hat. Well, what can you say about that? There's always fun when those two are around. Top 3 in the 125 then, Gordon, Herring and Hunt.
Motovision for features, reports, action and highlights. 1992 subscriptions are now available for only $79.95, offering even better value for 10 videotapes. We start in February with a preview of 1992, followed by issues 1 to 8 throughout the year, and a Christmas special. For only $99.95, you'll receive all 10 tapes, plus the fabulous 1991 World Crossbook. Motovision, the Christmas present that lasts all year. Motovision, P.O. Box 35, Truro, Cornwall.
The ultimate round of the British 125 and 250 Motocross Championship came here to Marlow, just outside High Wycombe. The first time that this club has ever had actually a British Championship, and let's hope for a good day. A good day for this young man, number 3, Robbie Herring there, hoping to bear the number 1 plate on that Honda for 1992. Dobb there behind him with the number 1 plate, looking not to retain that for next year by present form of Herring, that is. Well, the riders came down to the line for the start of the first race, and all anxious eyes were focused upon Herring. as indeed they did Dobb. So let's hand you over to our race commentator, Nick Fisk.
So the riders in the gate in the first moto. One late come and going by in the background. As you can see, the riders' 10 to 5 second board obviously up. The gate goes down there away. We can see 4 there is Malin. 3 is Rob Herring. Streaming into that first bend, very tightly packed there. You wouldn't want to fall off in the middle of that lot. So round the tight left hand at the end of the start straight. And the riders begin to sort themselves out now. And it's Mark Eastwood shows first. Rob Herring in the background over this tight tabletop jump. Third place man is Justin Morris. There's David Campbell, Paul Malin, Di Smith, Jason Rennie, Paul Cooper. And there's Jamie Dobb. But you can see quite congested on his first lap. As the pack are coming through, they're not getting the height off this tabletop that the leaders were. So as they begin to sort themselves out, it's Eastwood number 9 showing from Herring 3. Looking back. Here comes third place man. Third place man is Campbell. Then it's Malin. Justin Morris. 79 is Paul Cooper. 1 is Jamie Dobb. So it's Eastwood leading his teammate Herring. Very fast track here today at Wickham. Into the sweeping left-hander. Herring taking a look over his shoulder, looking back for third place man. And third place man Malin now on the Kawasaki up in the third spot. Fourth place now Campbell. He's followed by fast gating Morris. Cooper just tucked in behind him on the Yamaha. And so now Rob Herring hits the front, relegates teammate Mark Eastwood the second spot. Eastwood not giving up though, still chasing hard. Third place man is Malin. Malin's followed by Campbell. Morris still there, but coming under pressure now from Cooper. So meanwhile, Rob Herring out on his own in the front. Full control of this 250cc Honda here. Sliding the bike round that corner then into the tight bend. Away over the adverse camber jump. Really beginning to pull out an advantage now on the rest of the pack. Second place man Eastwood still there, but he's got Malin breathing down his neck. And we look back to fourth spot and we find there's David Campbell. Cooper managed to dispose of Morris. And so here comes Morris, shaking his head as he comes over the jump. Tucked in behind him, Greg Hansen. Matt Bates on the Yamaha. So back with race leader Herring at the front of the pack, showing his mastery in his 250cc class. Looking back, second place man, and Malin's got past Eastwood, so Malin up in the second place on the Kawasaki. So Eastwood down to third. So Malin now on the chase after Herring. Away, very smooth flowing track this at Marlow. Next man through, Justin Morris, and he's coming under pressure now from Hansen. Bates tucked in behind those two, but Herring out in the front on his own. Comes towards the tabletop jump for the last time, looking up for that checkered flag. So second place man fought his way through there. Malin on the Kawasaki. Again up, straight over that jump, no problem. Eastwood we see going through, and he's been followed by Cooper, the young South African rider, having a really good season in the British Championship. Well, Jamie Dobb retired in the first leg due to mechanical problems, so Rob Herring scored enough points to clinch the 250 British Championship. Hard-charging Paul Malin didn't get too good a start, but managed to pull up well through the field for second place. And Paul Cooper, continuing his good showing in the British Championship. Fast-gating Mark Eastwood managed to hold on to fourth place. In fifth was David Campbell on the Honda, and sixth place man was Justin Morris. Rob Herring's race wasn't without incident, as he tells us now.
Just a stone came off the back of Mark Eastwood's back wheel, and it hit my finger and my throttle housing, and it cracked the throttle housing, and for a split second I had no throttle. So I thought, you know, it smashed the housing. So I shut off. You know, obviously the bike died, and I went into the corner, and I made sure it picked up again, and I just made sure it wasn't going to stick on me. And then once the throttle was all right, you know, I carried on again.
You all right, Mr. V, as well?
A little bit, because I thought, oh God, no, I've got to ride the second race now. 125 is going to be harder. You know, Ryan's down there. I saw Ryan looking at my lines and that, so it's going to be harder because Ryan's a good 125 rider, but you know, I can handle all 4 races, no problem.
So Rob quite confident as the spectators here await the second moto. Rob won't be out in this one, neither will Jamie Dobb, as they both scored enough points to clinch their first and second places in the championship. So the fight in this one is going to be for the minor placings. And the first rider of the show is 85 Gary Hopcroft, 7 is Greg Hansen. As the pack screams his first bend, 53 David Campbell almost taking us with him then. So it's Hansen to show. Hansen from 37, Neil Prince. And behind Prince is 85 Hoptroff. 18 is Matt Bates. 22 is Flash Gordon. 9 is Mark Eastwood. 78 is Morris. 66 is Rennie. 79 there, Paul Cooper. And the pack still tightly bunched together on this first lap. Looking down there, actually, there's no sign of Paul Malin. Now we see there 27, Dave Watson at the back, and here comes Malin. So obviously Malin hitting problems on that first lap, chasing now after the rest of the field, dropping down towards the centre part of the track. Back out front, Hansen from Neil Prince on the Honda. Third place man looks to be Bates. Matt Bates, it certainly is. 22 is Matt Gordon, the Midlander. 9 is Eastwood with Morris, Hoptroff. And looking down the pack, still no sign of Paul Malin. An appalling start on that first lap. So we're looking down, getting towards the tail enders. We haven't seen any sign of the youngster on the Kawasaki. And that looks to be him. Here he comes. So number 4, Paul Malin, making up for that start, trying to battle his way through the tail enders. Back in the front, meanwhile, it's Greg Hansen on the Ford Nillis Kawasaki from Neil Prince on the Bridgestone Honda. Bates next man through, hotly pursued by Matt Gordon. And here comes Eastwood, that man Eastwood once more up in the points, charging hard after the race leaders. Hansen still in front, flicking that bike sideways. And looking back, second place man is now Bates, followed by Gordon. There's Eastwood, so there's Prince. Prince relegated to 5th spot. So Hansen out over the jump. Bates not far behind, shadowing him. And there's Eastwood closing in for the kill as well. And so they're coming up over the tabletop jump. Oh, and Bates almost overcooks it. Gives a chance. Eastwood going by on the outside. So Eastwood says, thank you very much. Looks over his shoulder. So Eastwood now up into 2nd spot. Well, problems for Greg Hansen in the closing stages, because when it came for the checkered flag, we actually found it was Eastwood from Bates. And Matt Gordon managing to get up into 3rd place. So here we see the first 3 riders with a rather dejected looking Hansen in the background, slipping back to 4th in the closing stages of the race.
Mark Eastwood, what a hell of a race.
Yeah, it was really exciting. It was a really, really good race. Me and Matt Gordon and Matt Bates had a really good race. And Greg was out the front. We had a lot to do, but we managed to catch him. It was really good, yeah. I passed Matt Gordon around the outside down there. And I come around the outside of Matt Bates a couple of times around there, but I wasn't sure whether, you know, he sort of kept moving out, so he knew I was there. So on that last out, I thought, as I come down the outside of him, I see him, he was on the inside and was going to go straight on to move me out, and I just chopped to the inside and managed to get by him. But then I went down the next hill, and I was on all the wrong line to, like, do the next sweeper.
Yeah,
and I drifted wide, and he just came straight back by me. Down the bottom, far corner over there, there's like a long sweeping left-hander and up an hill, and everyone's going out wide.
And you were on
I was
the
just
inside?
turning tight, and I think I must have been gaining about a second and a half just around that one bit. That's probably the only place I was quicker than them. But no doubt they were quicker than me around other bits of the track.
Mark Eastwood, well done.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So here we see number 1 on the bike, Rob Herring, already crowned 250 British champion today, looking to try and do the double and gain the 125 championship as well. Currently 2 points ahead of second place man, who we see here, number 16, Ryan Hunt. Ryan hasn't bbeen racing in the 250cc races today to save himself for these 125s. So as you can see, a lot of digging and scraping going on as the riders are going to try and maximise the grip they get coming out of the start gate. So getting ready for the first moto. Rob Herring, number 1, already 250 champion, waiting for this one to start. So we focus on him from the start. And he's away, and not a very good gate there. In fact, 92 Barfoot pulling across him, 3 just in front is Dobb also. So the pack screaming once more into this tight bend. And when we come out the other side, we find it's number 114, Neil Shepherd, the surprise race leader, with number 94, Dean Batchelor, just tucked in behind him. So the pack beginning to sort itself out a little bit. And as they come round, it's 94, Batchelor in the lead. Second place man, Malin on the Kawasaki. So there's Shepherd, relegated to third spot. And he's followed by Prince, Bates. And there's Herring, Hunt on the far side of the jump. And the riders coming through thick and fast here now on this first lap. Not even any time to miss a heartbeat, let alone a gear. And so we're looking back down through the pack. There's Barfoot going through, just behind him Cooper. So not as good a start on his second leg for those two. Meanwhile, Malin out in front. And it's Malin from Batchelor. So this versatile youngster, he's done it on the 500 Kawasaki. He's shown us earlier on the 250s, and now he's up in the front on the 125s. So looking back, there's Neil Prince. Prince next man through. Bates, Shepherd, there's Herring, Morrison, Hunt on a charge as well. Looking to try and keep Rob Herring in his sights. Malin meanwhile out in front, beginning to pull out a bit. Really flowing style, this young man. Such a versatile rider. So he's beginning to stretch out in front now. Coming down. Foot out to balance himself, only overshoots the berm there, uncharacteristic mistake, but he looks over his shoulder, looking back for second place man. Batchelor meanwhile having problems with that corner as well. There's Herring up in the third in front of Prince. So Herring charging away after Batchelor, Hunt going through we see, and there's young Kelly Swanson having a good ride on his Kawasaki. And back in front it's Kelly Swanson's teammate Paul Lynn trying to pull out from second place man, looking back, and now we find it's Rob Herring up in the second spot. And third place man going through his Bates. There's Neil Prince, 37. So Batchelor, 94, relegated down the field. Hunt still in with the points there. And he's got local rider Greg Hansen tucked in behind him also. So Malin up over the jump. And Herring beginning to close in on him now. Very tight section of the track this. A very flowing track here at Wickham today. There's Bates in third. 37 is Prince knocking on his door. And there's Ryan Hunt. Hunt still trying to keep Herring within his sights. Greg Hansen going through, got Dean Batchelor just in front of him. So it's Malin meanwhile trying to pull away from Rob Herring, and looking over his shoulder, here we find second place man Rob Herring. Will Herring be pleased to finish there, standing in good stead in his championship battle against Hunt. So back in third spot, Bates going through, Prince trying the outside line, chasing after him, looking for Ryan Hunt. Here's Hunt up into fifth place. So Ryan Hunt still dropping back points on Herring. Race leader Malin up on the pegs. Second place man Herring closing in on him. Away down towards the finish line tabletop once more. Neatly over there. Bates still in third. Fighting off the hard charging Neil Prince in fourth spot at the moment. Looking back, and there's Ryan Hunt, second place in the championship at the moment, fifth place in this race. Number 16 has got to close up on Herring if he's going to have any chance for the championship. Next pair of riders through, Dean Batchelor, and there's Kelly Swanson. So coming up to take the checkered flag, Paul Malin got time to wave to the crowd. He'll be pleased with that result. Such a versatile rider, and we see him here playing to the crowd as he wheelies over the line. Well, second place man after an uncharacteristic fall in the last lap was Rob Herring. Keeping his championship hopes alive though, and pulling out a few more valuable points on Ryan Hunt. So Paul Malin here, giving a little bit of advice to Rob Herring, and Rob showing us there what he thinks of the advice, I think you'll find. So the spectators waiting for the riders to come down for the second leg. And here they come, Rob Herring out in front. Ryan Hunt there styling a little bit in second spot. So there we go, first and second of the championship. Rob Herring got number one on the bike, won a 125 championship last year. What can be going through his mind now? One race away. Second place man Hunt there needs to pull out the stops in this one. So the rider's ready, the gate goes down their way. We see Herring going out there towards the left of the shot. And who's that with a whole shot? Looking around the front, looks to be the yellow bike. I think you'll find, yes, that's Ryan Hunt, Castrol Suzuki out in front. Now, this is a race where he needs to pull the points on Herring, and he couldn't have had a better start than that. So Ryan Hunt goes round in the first lap, race leader, but look, there's Herring just over his shoulder in about third spot. And if Hunt's going to have a chance for the championship, there's got to be about 5 or 6 places between the riders at the end of the day. So Hunt, meanwhile, trying desperately to pull away, but we look over his shoulder, and there's Herring up into second spot now. Relentless, this young man. Prince in third, 114 is Shepherd. There goes Malin. 57 is Swanson. 34 is Morrison. 94 is Batchelor. 92 is John Barfoot. And 3 there, Jamie Dobb. Midfield at the moment. and just pulling up inside him was 92 Batchelor. So Hunt in the lead, Herring ever present behind him. So all Rob Herring has to do is shadow Ryan Hunt in that way, and he'll win the championship. Malin goes through. Prince, Shepherd, Swanson. 62 is Nathan Shelton. So Hunt still in front, but there's the man that's dogging him. Rob Herring, 250 British champion. Looking to be 125 British champion if they finish like this. But Herring's got in front, so Herring now takes the lead from Hunt. And that's the way the British Championship is at the moment. Herring out in front, Hunt in second spot. So Rob Herring now, all he's got to do is stay there, gradually pulling away a little bit from Ryan Hunt. Just got to hope the bike lasts out. Hunt, always the bridesmaid it seems at the moment. Meanwhile, Paul Malin there in third spot, having a good outing today on the little Kawasaki. So Rob Herring coming to take the win, and with that also the 125 British Championship to add to the 250 British Championship he won earlier on in the day. Second place man concentrating on the 125s, and he's been rewarded with second place in the British Championship. Castrol Suzuki's Ryan Hunt, and third place in this moto, number 5, Kawasaki's Paul Malin. So here we see Rob Herring and his mechanic Harvey Beltram, 125 250 British champion now. He can afford to smile.
The World Championship winning 1992 Suzukis have arrived. World champions 24 times, the most successful manufacturer in the history of motocross. Stefan Everts rode the 92 machines in Belgium for the first time, winning the event and going on to win the world title. Suzuki, simply the best.
Ryan Hunt, number 16 on the 250 Castrol Suzuki. 10th in the 250 Championship, but really that doesn't really reflect his performance because he's concentrated more on the 125 Championship. But nevertheless, a good ride from Ryan. Greg Hansen, riding number 7, the Ford & Ellis Kawasaki. Well, married this year, former 4-stroke rider. Well, what can you say about Greg that's not already been said before? Been around a long time and he's won a lot of championships. Paul Malin, number 4 on the Kawasaki, the team Kawasaki rider. He's going to the 250 Grand Prix next year. It'll be interesting to see what Paul can do in the home 250 Championship. Warren Edwards, dogged this year and last year with injuries. Ankle problems this year really has kept him out of the championship. Hasn't really ridden at the last few rounds, but nevertheless, we hope Warren can get it back together again for 1992. The former AMCA champion, number 22, this is Matt Gordon. Well, he really did spark in the 125 World Grand Prix, but so far at home hasn't really been able to put it totally together. Brian Wheeler, showing us that he indeed can hoist the little quarter-litre bikes around the track. He's had a good position, finishing 5th in the championship this year. Matt Bates, riding the Yamaha, the Mitsui Yamaha number 18, 4th in the championship. Well, he's had a very indifferent season, and no doubt we'll be hoping for better things in 1992. Mark Eastwood, number 9, 3rd overall in the championship, son of the famous Vic Eastwood. He was the only rider this year to beat Robbie Herring on 2 occasions. Well, no doubt we'll be looking for Eastwood on a different machine in 1992. Jamie Dobb, he another one that's changing machines for next year, going to Kawasaki, finishing 2nd. Well, a lot expected more from James this year, but with slight mechanical problems and rider error, it just didn't come together. Well, for this lad, everything came together. Robbie Herring, first position in the 250 and looking for very much the same in the 125. Mr. Consistent. Well, who can catch him? That's the question we all ask. On Honda for 1992 again, we went over to Robbie and asked him how he felt about today.
Yeah, I'm very happy with today. Before today, I knew that I could get the 250 Championship wrapped up in the first race, which is what I did. You know, I rode the race how I wanted to ride it. Sat the second one out because you know, I didn't need to go out there. And you know, although the spectators probably would like to see me ride, you know, it did give the others a bit more of a chance to get at the front. And you know, Honda won again, so you know, it was good. I think my move to Honda has been the best move I've done so far. Every year, you know, I've spoken to Honda and I've been really close a couple of times to going to Honda, but I could never quite, you know, the deal wasn't quite there for me to go, and I could never pull myself away from the other manufacturers. But you know, I've done it now, and it's been really good. The Honda bike suits me. You know, next year we're going to have hopefully a better setup. The bikes will be just as good. I'll be even fitter. So you know, I'm looking forward to next year. The Grand Prix especially. You know, I want a good result next year, a very good result. Got Paul going 250s. We've got Jamie 250s. Myself. You know, it can only benefit the sport in this country as well. If we're getting up there in Grand Prix and we're going to be pushing each other, it can only be good for English motocross.
10th position then for the young Welshman Stephen Holmes, the 1990 schoolboy champion, and a good ride from the youngster for his first year in adult racing. Matt Bates riding the 125 Mitsui Yamaha. Matt's ridden in the 125 class, the 250 and the 500 open class, and has been seen riding the air-cooled 500 Yamaha, but nevertheless a good result from Matt for 1991. 24, that's Warren Edwards, another of the Mitsui Yamaha riders, but next year riding with the Action Workshop outfit. So we'll be seeing things from Warren next year. Unlucky this year with lots of injuries to keep him out of the main racing. Greg Hansen, who now can be considered a part-time rider. Here's the lad that everybody expected to do more in the 125 class, last year's 250 champion, Jimmy Dobb. Matt Gordon, 5th in this 125 championship, one of our top 125 Grand Prix flyers this year, but again, not the result he hoped for. Craig Prattley, well, he broke his leg at Boltby in the open class, and that really put pay to any further progression in this particular championship, even though at the time he was leading. Neil Prince, a North Walian, number 37, 3rd in the championship, a good result for him. Ryan Hunt here on the Castrol Suzuki. We all expected him to win the 125 class, but it was, alas, not to be. 2nd at the end of the year, but still a good result, because this was the man that pipped him to the post. 1st in the 250 championship, now 1st in the 125 championship, 2nd in the Open championship. What can you say about Robbie Herring?
Honda won the 500 and 250 World Championship. Their success continued with Rob Herring winning both the 125 and 250 British Championship. Honda, race bred. You can join them now. The new 1992 Hondas are available from your Honda off-road dealer. Every model improved for race performance. Striking new colour scheme. Honda, setting the standard.
The venue for the Yamaha test was Motorzone, just off the M6. It's owned by Miles Carter, renowned for his trick crash helmet paintwork. Last year's 125 was criticised for its lack of power. However, no one complained about its handling or looks. Radiator guards are neat and stylish, which immediately gives the impression of a light, small and manoeuvrable machine. The redesigned front number plate and mudguard, in our opinion, don't improve looks. The Yamaha engineers have successfully improved power and performance by redesigning inlet and exhaust ports. There's an extensively reworked barrel, head and power valve mods, and a new exhaust wraps itself around the front of the engine. The clutch can easily be removed for ease of maintenance, and its light action is a joy to use. A colour-coordinated spring indicates improved rear suspension with over 13 inches of rear wheel travel. The front forks are again Kayaba with an improved design allowing over 12 inches of travel. The fork protector has been well thought out and does its job well. The front disc has been increased to 204mm and is manufactured by Nissan. The rear disc is nearly 200mm in diameter and both brakes give a good feel. The Yamaha hubs are light and strong and never give problems. Wider foot pegs are fashionable, but they do work well. On the track, you're immediately impressed by the riding position. Within minutes, you become at home. The controls give you confidence. The clutch can be operated easily using one finger. Rear brake and gear shift are never misplaced. Handling is good and moving forward and backwards on the machine is a pleasure. To get maximum power, you do need to shift up before reaching peak revs. The bike's greatest assets are turning, handling, and of course we still love the looks. The more time we spent on the machine, the better it became. It's certainly shaken off some of last year's criticism on power, but it'll take a shootout to make a direct comparison with the opposition. In June, Peter Johansson took the production 1992 Yamaha to victory in the Belgian 250 Grand Prix. The same styling as its little brother, many parts interchange, a trend of recent times that will hopefully keep down the price of spares. Over 50 horsepower is available from the Yamaha, so it's easy to see why the 500 machines are no longer so popular, with the amount of power that today's 250s are producing. Identical to the 125 in looks, it's not until you study the power plant that you realise it's the 250. Many changes have taken place, including modifications to the barrel, head, exhaust port timing and power valve. There's also uprated brakes, front suspension and rear suspension, with the Delta Box swinging arm, which has proved successful, and its introduction last year from the factory bikes has been well received. The 250's well put together, it's easy to work on and regular maintenance is no problem. Once bitten by the Yamaha, it's not easy to shake customers off, and they do tend to stay with what they know. On the track, the YZ250 is a real racer, with adequate bottom-end power, but it's really strong in the middle. Gear shifting was good, but it did need a little clutch to shift at maximum revs. The riding position is excellent, and handling after a few minor adjustments was good. The sleek design gives the rider confidence when cornering. The YZ excels in ruts and feels stable off jumps. It's a good bike, and we enjoyed its track manners. How good, you might well ask? Well, once again, until we've tested them all, we can't answer that one. A motocross track is not the place to test the WRs when there are thousands of acres of Welsh hills and forests to choose from. A day spent riding the enduro machines is a real eye-opener. On test were the two new models, the WR500 and the WR200, along with the already popular WR250. With Geraint Jones as our guide, we were stupid enough to follow him. Believe me, the camera doesn't give a true picture of how steep these hills really are. The little WR200 proved to be very popular with all 5 riders on the day, equipped with a 6-speed gearbox, an all-new electric power valve and motocross suspension. The WR250 has got a much stronger motor than the 1991 model, and Yamaha are looking at the enduro market as a growing one. And the current range look a good bet to attack that market. Brought in earlier in the year for evaluation purposes, the WR500 is now going to be made available after dealers demanded a supply. Geraint laid out a test section and all riders rode the same track on all 3 capacity machines. The results were quite intriguing. The little 200 was treated to a great deal of abuse for hour after hour, and it never faltered. Nobody was keen to get out any spanners, they just wanted to ride. In the narrow tracks where manoeuvrability was the priority, the little 200 was outstanding. 4 of the 5 riders felt that they were quicker on the 200. All times were against the clock, but these were not disclosed until they'd ridden all 3 bikes. The WR200 is a really trick, well-made enduro bike for the fun or the serious rider. After a full day's riding, everyone wanted to take this one home. The WR250 is for the serious enduro competitor and takes its manners from the YZ. The power is strong yet gentle enough to cope with rivers and banks, while it's more than capable of tackling high-speed tracks and forest roads. Here, Geraint Jones demonstrates the full potential of the WR250. Well, here's the surprise. All riders felt they were slower on the 500. They all made the same mistake, but it felt slower because it didn't rev like the 250. Against the stopwatch, everyone performed better on the WR 500. But whether you could sustain that for the whole day remains to be seen. Also, there's no radiators to smash and it's generally low on maintenance. Altogether, an outstanding machine, now being imported due to demand.
Yamaha's 1992 YZ250 won on its debut. It's now with your local Yamaha dealer, improved and refined for next year. Yamaha produce a wide range of off-road machines from the YZ125 and 250 to the WR200, 250 and 500. And let's not forget the TY250, top seller of the UK trials market. Yamaha, a breed apart.
September sees the arrival of the Americans in Europe. We grabbed the opportunity to speak to some of them.
Dan Betley, welcome to Europe.
Thank you.
We do really enjoy seeing you guys come over here. And you're the #1 technician for Jeff Stanton. And can you just first of all tell us a little bit about this bike that he's riding here?
Well, basically, Honda of France was kind enough to supply us with a production motorcycle, and we hand carry our suspension and some motor setting parts, and basically set the bike up so Jeff's happy so he can put on a good show for the people.
And next week in the Motocross the Nations, he will be riding the 500cc Honda.
That's correct.
And this is the machine that you're bringing over from America.
Yeah, that's our National Works bike that we use in the United States.
How does the 500 bike that you race in America differ from a production machine?
Basically, it's our National Works bike. It's got suspension, wheels, clamps, a lot more works parts on it than this motorcycle over here.
And today is a fun day, or not a fun day. You're there to win.
No, we're here.
No mistakes about that.
Oh, exactly. We're here
that's
to
the
win.
American way, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's everybody's way. You know, the European are getting very fast again, and every year we come over here, there's much better competition. It's getting harder and harder to win over here. But at the same time, there's only so much parts we can bring over here, and we're here to win, but we're not here to win at any cost. We have a championship at home we have to contend with, and our #1 priority is to win that.
And the Motocross the Nations next week, that's all about winning. You
Yes,
guys have had
yeah.
it 10 on the trot. You know, we love to watch you ride and we love to watch you race and for you to come over here, but we're not so sure we want you to have 10 on the trot.
You know, that is #1 serious race that we do over here. We send all our own equipment here. We're here to win, and it's kind of a neat feeling because our other team members, you know, Damon Bradshaw, Mike Kudrowski, the other factories, we all work together very closely as a team, plus including the AMA. So I think each year we have a very good team and we work well together, and I think it's going to be close this year. It's going to be a close race, but I think we might be able to do it again.
Well, we look forward to that one, and we won't be too surprised if you win it again. Going back to the American motocross season, we talked to the likes of Mike Healy and Trampus Parker, who we certainly enjoy watching in Europe, racing the GPs, and they say to us, it's just too much, you know, it just goes on forever. And the injury risks are high with supercrosses running for 16 or 17 weeks on the trot. What's your feelings? I mean, you told me you do a colossal amount of miles. Tell us a little bit about your American season.
Well, I would be honored to do only 12 GPs a year and maybe 5 extra races. Our American season's 33 races, including Supercross and National. Plus we do races over here in Motocross the Nations, and we ended up having to do the 250 Japan GP this year. So Jeff and my schedule usually end up somewhere around 50 races a year, and it's nonstop. I drive approximately 60,000 miles a year. I do a race almost every weekend. My last journey at home, I was gone away from home 2.5 months and came home for 2 days and left again, and I will be gone another 2 months. So I'm not home very often. I'm usually on the road somewhere in the country.
Does this mean that you're a single man?
I'm single seeing somebody, which makes a relationship very difficult.
Right, I can understand that as well. And you enjoy working with Jeff?
Oh yeah, Jeff is a great guy. We get along great. Our personalities are somewhat the same, And I've wanted to do this for a very long time. This race mechanic, professional race mechanic, and it took me about 7 years to get to this level. And I'm glad I waited this long, because I couldn't ask for a better guy to work with.
And the job that you carry out is a well rewarding job when he rides like he does.
Oh,
He
yeah.
rides very well.
Oh yeah, I feel I could not put any more into my job than I do, and I feel Jeff cannot work any harder than he does. He trains the hardest out of any U.S. rider, I feel. He trains the hardest. He's in the best physical condition out of any U.S. rider, and I feel as long as he is giving me 100%, I will give him 100%, and I think that's why we've been successful.
Well, that's good to hear that you're both working together as a pair.
Oh yeah.
Is there anybody else involved in your side looking after those bikes, or do you do it just yourself?
No, basically it's myself. Dave Arnold, the team manager, is also involved in setting up bikes, and but that's mostly on a testing level and a track side, but we all confer on that. Jeff also works with a great trainer that's Jeff Spencer, that he works with in the States as far as for his conditioning. So we all kind of work as a team and try to get Jeff in the winner's circle.
Well, Dan Betley, it's really nice speaking to you and giving us some insight into what the American scene is all about.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
The Americans Motocross Des Nations team, led by Belgian Roger da Costa, has continually won. The 10-in-a-row sequence was not broken. They've made it 11. We felt Valkenswaard was our best chance. We spoke to Stanton and Bradshaw for their opinions.
Jeff Stanton, congratulations.
Thank you.
How did the day go? Tell us about it.
The first moto went pretty smooth. I didn't get such a good start. Started like 6th, and just kept working my way up. And once I got into first, it was no problem. Pulled a long ways. Second moto, different story. Started very good. Started 3rd, and then had a big crash first lap. Just kept, I said, I'll keep going and going. Crashed again. So I got back up, going again. Crashed again, and then I just kept going and going. And next thing I know, they're telling me I must pass the guy in front of me for the win. So I passed him on the last lap.
And that was an incredible ride, wasn't it? Really, to be fair, in sand, the favourites that you are, very difficult to live up to that reputation. But you've come in here and you've done the business again.
Yeah, it's always hard to live up to being #1, but that's what I'm here for. That's what we're all here for. And that's what we're here as a team for. And I just do the best I can each time. That's all I can ask for.
And did you believe you could win that last race? When you crashed the second time, was there any doubt in your mind?
I had a little doubt, but once I knew where people were in front, around you, then I knew that I could do it.
And that was, in our mind, an outstanding race. You looked good, you stayed cool, and you hung on in there, because it was beginning to be a little bit of a pressure race with the Dutch, and the Belgians blew out early.
I didn't know where anybody was. I just was racing my own race and doing what I could. That's all.
And the backup from the other team, that was also good. You've had 2 wins, but they've done their bit as well.
Yeah, without their points, it wouldn't be possible. So it's a team effort, by far.
And as a Motocross the Nations event, how do you compare this one with the ones of the past?
This one was okay. The track's not so good. But the event was good. It's people here hate us, so they don't want us to win. So nobody's here for us. So it makes it even better.
Jeff Stanton, I can assure you that we love to watch the Americans ride. We're just a little bit tired of you winning, but no, we don't hate you at all. You entertain us well, and we appreciate what you do for us.
Thank you. We look forward to coming back, many more times.
Well, I hope you do, because it's to see the Americans race is a great pleasure for the Europeans.
Yes, and we enjoy coming over here also.
Jeff Stanton, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Seen here are the United States team officials, quite happy with the result.
Damon Bradshaw, congratulations, member of the winning team again.
We all come over here to win, all 3 of us, me, Mike, and and Jeff, and fortunately we're able to do that again for the 2nd year in a row. I was on the team. It's been 11 years in a row now, and we can be beat just as well as they can. But as of right now, we're the winners, and hopefully we always will be.
And your aggressive riding style, we've seen that today. You've been fighting tooth and nail.
Well, we're here to win, and also to put on a show. That's the way it is in the United States, and I did the best I could today, and I rode as hard as I could, and I felt like hopefully the people got their money's worth.
Well, we've had our money's worth. I can assure you of that.
Thank you very much.
Do you enjoy riding in Europe?
Yeah, I do. It's it's a change for us to come over here and and to change to the different foods, and also the temperature and everything. But no, I enjoy it. I've come over here and done, you know, quite a few races, and I'm sure I'll be back.
Damon Bradshaw, member of the winning team, congratulations and thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
After speaking to the winning team, who found it very difficult to raise a smile, we dreaded the thought of having to seek out what we imagined to be a very depressed British team.
Okay. Tell us about the first race.
We had a pretty good start. Well, I did. I think I was about 5th or 6th or something like that around the first couple of turns, and then Stanton passed me on the first lap, and I got him straight back, like put him up the fence, but he didn't go down, unfortunately. I was going pretty good, and I was just like picking the riders off one by one, and Van Dorn took a mistake. He came over one of the hills and over jumped a berm, and like me and Stanton went by him. And I think Marcus Hansen, the Finnish guy or Swedish guy, I think, he was about 6 seconds in front, and I caught him and was like, you know, pulling ground on Stanton, like making him, you know, making like a good distance between us. And then when I caught Hansen, I caught him in all the tight sections, so like Stanton was able to close right up on me, and then he went round both of us because I was on the wrong side of Hansen, and like when I switched, it was too late to do anything about it. So he went by me, and then I passed Hansen, and I was just looking for all the smooth lines just to get my rhythm and momentum back and everything, and when it was there, it was all right. I started to reel in Van Dorn again at the finish.
Okay, Robbie, can you put that game down for a minute? Yeah. Robbie, on the start line, you started behind Paul. Yeah, you're directly behind each other. Or you're offset, or what's the score?
Directly behind, because the officials stand you directly behind your first rider. And I actually passed Paul up the straight in the first one. No, I was off the gate. I thought I was off the gate real good in 125, and I went into the corner, and everybody was in front of me just about, and I came through quite well. I got, I don't know, maybe up to 5th or something, and then I came around the corner, blind corner, and some guy had decked it around the corner, and they hadn't got the yellow flags out yet, and I came around, went straight into him.
My boots and my goggle bag.
Lost a few places, and caught him up again, and what did I end up? 6th? Yeah. Pretty lonely ride, because I had Marcus, I mean, Joachim Karlsson behind me, but I was just watching him, and I couldn't catch anyone in front, so I settled for 6th place.
No, I got a decent start, and then you've got so many going slow round here, like from Hungary and stuff, that...
You talk about me like that.
Oh, I won't talk to you like that. You stop taking No. And every time I tried to pass him, he'd like just stuff me on like first few corners. So like, the first rise that you go up, I got by him there, and he just rammed straight into the side of me and hit me clutch lever with something on his bike, and it was just like flapping around everywhere. So I crashed once going round the track, and then pulling in, there was this stupid Jap in front of me, and I hit him and crashed again.
Right now.
Oh yeah, number 45, please. And I had to go, I came in then, I had to wait for Julian for a few seconds and for him to undo his tool bag and stuff and get it tight, and then I got out again.
Second race, you was really quick in the second race. You always said that, you know, you was faster than Malin, and
he blitzed me. This man beat Bradshaw, smoked Bradshaw.
I passed him.
We're all very proud of that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I passed him.
Beating Bradshaw, but like, to beat me, I mean, he must have been going some really...
Yeah. Was it 5 250s in the...
Yeah, I think so. We've just proved really, being serious, that 250 is the class to be, so hopefully the 500s, anybody out there who thinks the 500s, like all you lot in England, get your head intact. The 250s are the fast one. You've seen it, we proved it, top 5,
right.
No excuses.
He's right.
Well, they're happy losers. I wonder what that trio would be like if they'd won. Well, we'll show you a full, unedited version of that interview in our Christmas special.
Motovision for features, reports, action and highlights. It's the off-road video magazine and available from all good off-road dealers. Issue 8 will include action from the Western Beach Race, together with tests of the Honda and Kawasaki 92 bikes. A Christmas special will be available in December. This video, which we consider to be unsuitable for children, will include a competition in which you could win a 1992 subscription. It's only $12.95 from your off-road dealer or from Motovision.